When you get into conference play and teams are familiar with you, do you feel like you're being guarded differently than out of conference?
Obviously, yeah. There's a little more. It's tougher to score in conference. It's tougher to play in conference play. You got guys that have seen you play and played against you now for me 2 years and 4 or 5 games maybe. Obviously, you play some teams 2 or 3 times a year, and yeah, it's a lot more difficult. And I think that's something that you gotta be ready for to go into conference play, and you gotta adjust to it.
The shooting slump that you're in, how does it compare to past ones that you've had?
It's weird because it's happened at the same time. You know, it was the same exact trip last year, just to Colorado and Utah, and obviously not quite as bad. I hit a couple shots on this road trip, but I haven't felt like I've shot the ball all that well. I've just forced some really tough ones going to the basket, and I think that's really hurt my percentage. But it's not something you can worry about. Like I've said in the past, you can't. If I start worrying about the shots that I'm missing, I'm going to start missing a lot of shots. And this team needs me to make open shots and get us into offenses and score, because I have to score for this team. That's one of my biggest roles.
Go ahead.
How important is it for you guys to get a win over Arizona this week after the past weekend?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of pressure on us after 2 losses early in conference play. You got to protect your home, especially in conference play, to have a chance to do what we want to do. You know, we want to win the Pac-12. That's always our goal, and to do that, you have to be able to take care of home, and then you got to get some road wins. But yeah, this is obviously a very big one, and we know that going in.
Is it easier to get up for a game like this, you know, Arizona, Kentucky, versus going to Pullman after a double overtime?
I mean, yeah, you can look at it that way. I think for some guys it might be a lot easier. Obviously, you're probably gonna have a pretty good crowd here tomorrow or on Thursday, and obviously they're a top 10 team. It's Arizona, UCLA. It's a rivalry, and it's a little different that way. But playing basketball is playing basketball, and if you can't get up for any game, then you probably shouldn't be playing the sport.
Has there been an extra edge when you've played Arizona in the past 2 seasons for you, just given that they've been kind of in the top dog in the conference?
I don't know. I think, yeah, I think maybe a little bit, just because you know the importance of the game, and if you can win a game like this early in the season, it has a lot of impact on the rest of the year. I think just going into it, you got to be really, really ready to play from the get-go, and I think you know that. And I think I've played a little bit more loose when I've played against Arizona in the past, and I'm not sure why that is.
Going into a game like this, like the Kentucky game, how do you balance that poise and the energy, you know, control and intensity? Did you do that against Arizona? How can you do it? I mean, Kentucky, how can you do it again?
Yeah, that's the difficult thing to do. That's what I've had to learn over the past years is when to go and when not to go, when to be going really hard at it, and when you got to pace yourself a little bit. And, I think that's something that I did well against Kentucky. I think our whole team did. I think we did really well on the road against Gonzaga in that. You know, I think we were really, really poised. And this trip, I think we took a step back as far as poise goes. But we just got to come in here tomorrow, and we got to have a lot of energy, or on Thursday, and have a lot of energy. And like you said, stay poised, because this team can really put a hurting on you on offense. And if you don't score on them, then it makes it really hard.
Do you guys feel like this is a critical point in the season? Yeah,
anytime you go into conference play, the whole conference play is very critical. Every single game, night in, night out, you have to concentrate for 40 minutes. I think we didn't do that on this road trip, and I think, yeah, that puts a lot of onus on this homestand. We got 3 straight home games, and we got to get them all.
Is it good or bad that you have, after going 0-2, that you have a team like any team that's up in the upper echelon of the conference, like Arizona, that you have them next? Is that a good or bad thing for you?
I don't know. I think our guys are just itching to play again. You know, you play a couple of rough games, and anytime you coming off a win, you want to get back on the court. But when you lose a basketball game, when you're a competitor, you want to get back on the court as soon as you leave it. So it doesn't really matter to us who we're playing next. I think we're ready to go, and we're ready to get back out there.
What kind of matchup problems does Trier present for you guys?
Yeah, he's obviously a very talented freshman, very, very high scorer, can score in a lot of different ways, shooting the basketball pretty well, very, very athletic driver. So we know how versatile he is. We're going to watch a lot of film in the next 2 days on him, and we know how important he is on the offensive end. So we got to really try to make him work on the other end, try to wear him out on defense, and then try to take care of him and try to stop him as much as we can.
Isaac's been scoring more, shooting more. He's been playing as well as anyone the past 5 or 6 games. What difference have you seen in him over that span?
I think it's just all poise. He's always been a confident kid, but I think this year he's just really relaxed and just played. And I think last year he struggled with that early in the season, and that's tough coming off a year sitting out and then playing your first games in college. But this year I think he's had those games under his belt. He's had big games like the SC game last year, and he's very confident. And this year he's letting the game come to him, and he's very, very poised. And that's something that our guards are learning from him. Even myself is just to stay within ourselves and let the game come to you.
Has he been more assertive at all on offense? He looks that way at times.
I don't know. I think it's just how the game's going. Sometimes, you know, this road trip especially, you know, I wasn't scoring very well, and we weren't getting a whole lot of points out of Tony on this trip. So I think he's noticed that, and then he kind of took it on himself, and he's been very, very aggressive. So that's always been his game, though, I think, and he's just had more confidence.
What do you think went wrong for you guys this past weekend?
I think just a lack of energy, especially on the defensive end. We just didn't bring the fight we needed to those games. And really put us in a hole those first two, and starting to work to do this coming week.
What do you remember from playing at Arizona last year?
That's a fun environment to play in for sure. Like, they get really excited and rowdy out there. So I mean, that's just a cool place to play. Yeah, it's definitely a fun place to play.
How much banter or ribbing did Miller give you over the summer, having an Arizona guy coach a UCLA guy?
No, yeah, it was interesting for sure. I mean, he didn't really bring it up too much, to be honest. He joked about it every now and then about how next year they were going to beat us when we came down to Arizona to play him. But yeah, he's a great coach, and it's going to be definitely different to go against him now after playing for him this summer. But I'm excited. It's going to be a big time matchup.
How does his coaching style differ from some of the other coaches that you've had?
I mean, just comparing him and Coach Alford, they're pretty similar, to be honest. They have similar styles. I thought it wasn't that big of an adjustment for me to change from playing for here at UCLA to play for him for the Team USA over the summer. So yeah, I think it was nothing too out of the ordinary. Pretty, I guess, similar style to what Coach Alford has and what I've been used to.
Tarzuski's been playing more since he's coming off the injury. What does he bring when he's in the lineup?
He's a big, great athlete. I mean, he's a tough guy to go against for sure. My first time playing against him last year, I learned that. I mean, he's a great player, and he's going to be a good matchup, definitely.
How do you feel like your non-conference games against teams like Kentucky and Kansas have prepared you for this game against Arizona this week?
I think, yeah, I mean, we've played against some great competition thus far, and Arizona's a phenomenal team. Yeah, we've just been in those atmospheres where it's like a must-win situation against a phenomenal team, and I think that's what we have here Thursday night.
Do you think you guys have squandered any of that momentum this past weekend?
I mean, those two games definitely didn't help. It just puts us in a bad spot to start off the conference season. I mean, the goal is to win the conference every year, and we just, yeah, like I said, put ourselves in a bad spot. But I have confidence in our guys and our coaching staff that we'll make the adjustments we need to make a run for it.
With losing the two games over the weekend and having Arizona on top of it, how do you avoid getting overhyped maybe for this game and maybe coming out with too much energy? How do you maintain the poise in this game?
I think you have to get one game at a time, really. You can't focus on too much. Just focus on getting just one win and continue moving forward. Just have to learn from the mistakes we made this weekend, and yeah, just get ready for Thursday.
In the second half, Washington State was shooting like an insanely high percentage. At one point, it was like over 70%. What were they doing on offense that was kind of giving you guys fits?
I think they're just executing their stuff extremely well. And yeah, we weren't, I guess, providing very much resistance on defense. When there's teams shooting the ball that well, you just need to contest the shots really hard and just hope it comes off and get the glass so they don't have a second shot opportunity. But yeah, I mean, they were lights out there, and I mean, that's a tough spot to be in, but at the same time, if we just bring a little more intensity on defense, contest the shots a little bit harder, then they don't shoot the ball that well. So,
was it an intensity issue, or were they kind of scheming you guys?
I think a little bit of both, to be honest. Yeah, they were running some really good stuff, and we just didn't bring the energy we needed to.
What's been the biggest difference for you in these past 5 or 6 games, or however many games it's been, where you've been scoring a lot?
Just being aggressive, I guess. I mean, I've kind of mentioned that prior, but just being aggressive. You know, that's my role on the team. Coach always reiterated to me every time. So kind of just, you know, just being aggressive, being a scorer, make plays. So that's kind of like what I'm doing right now.
Do you feel like this is the best stretch of basketball you've played at UCLA?
Oh, of course. I mean, you know, last year just kind of finding my niche, trying to find who I was as a player. And I kind of, you know, took a back seat in terms of what I really could do. You know, in terms of coming out of high school, that's what I was known for, a scorer. And playing a different role last year kind of, altered that. But I think this year, me being, that's my primary job, I think starting to get in the groove of things. So.
Looking back on last weekend, what do you think kind of was the main issue for you guys?
Basically just coming out and just competing consistently, regardless if it's Kentucky, Gonzaga, Washington State, just giving that same effort, defensively. And we gave a lot of points up. Like you mentioned, transition was one of the main, and it has been one of the main issues. But I think, once we get that down and guys start to see the importance of each game, I think we'll keep the ball rolling.
Is it easy to get up for Arizona Thursday?
I mean, due to who they are, top 10 team. I guess guys will come and compete, and then build from that, for the rest of the season.
What do you remember from the Arizona game last year?
I know last year, we lost at their house. We kind of came back, but same thing with them. We got into some foul trouble, and then in the tournament, Pac-12, same situation, similar. Foul trouble. I know I fouled out, and a couple other things happened, but Kavon was a little injured. But I think, it's like revenge. It's like, last year Kentucky got one from us. I think, this year we need to come back and, repay them for what they did last year.
When you guys start a game kind of low energy, is that something that's hard to flip the switch on mid-game?
Yeah, it's hard to, just to turn it on and off. You usually keep that switch on, when we play, right from the tip, get on these guys and try to, be as aggressive as we can.
Do you circle Arizona on the schedule before the season? Like, are they the team to beat? Do you think this year in the conference?
Obviously they're great. They always end up 1 or 2 in a conference. It's real key to get that victory. But I wouldn't say we will circle them. I think every team we need to, take the same approach, regardless of who we play. So, we're just ready to compete on Thursday and try to get a win.